For over a century, the blueprint for making things fast and cheap has looked exactly like this. In 1913, Henry Ford lined his workers up in a perfectly straight row to build the Model T. The idea was simple: put the machines in a line, pass the part down, and watch the profits roll in. Modern executives added a second rule to this playbook. When a dashboard shows machines running at 99% utilization, the assumption is that the company is making the maximum amount of money possible. However, modern facilities building highly customized parts rarely look this neat. Inside these buildings, thousands of different components pile up between workstations, blocking aisles and paralyzing the entire operation. Taking Henry Ford's straight-line geometry and combining it with a mandate for maximum machine uptime creates a massive, money-wasting trap. It forces workers to walk miles for no reason, explodes lead times, and leaves customers waiting months for their orders. If the old rules of straight lines and total efficiency are actually bankrupting companies, how do you fix it? To survive, modern industrial engineers are destroying these old layouts and replacing them with a set of deeply counterintuitive rules. The first problem is physical space. On a straight assembly line, the starting point and the ending point are physically far apart. When a single worker finishes a part at the very end of that line, they have to hike back to the beginning to grab the next piece of raw material. That return trip is empty travel time. The worker isn't building anything. If that walk takes 15 seconds and they repeat it 500 times a shift, the company is paying a skilled technician a full-time salary just to spend 2 hours a day walking across a concrete floor. To eliminate that waste, engineers bend the line in half. By forming a U, the entry point for raw materials and the exit point for finished goods sit in the exact same aisle. The worker finishes part number 1, turns 90 degrees, and instantly picks up the raw material for part number 2. Saving steps is only a fraction of the advantage. Bending the machinery inward changes the mechanics of the workforce. This layout is called a manufacturing cell. Instead of gluing one person to the outside of one machine, you place a cross-trained worker on the inside of the U. Because the machines are wrapped around them, a single operator can run multiple stations by themselves with a slight pivot of their heels. This internal positioning allows the layout to scale with demand. If orders are low, one worker runs the cell to keep costs down. If a massive order comes in, 3 workers can occupy the center. The footprint stays the same, but labor capacity scales to match revenue. This requires a concept called group technology. Engineers analyze thousands of products and group them into families based on the specific manufacturing steps required to build them. They then build one U-shaped cell dedicated exclusively to that specific family. Grouping similar processes into a compact footprint reduces machine setup time and clears the traffic of forklifts moving parts across the building. In a physical space, the flexibility of a U-shape outpaces the rigid speed of a straight line. But fixing the physical space is only half the battle. We still have to deal with time. What happens when that optimized U cell gets a surge in orders and those machines hit 99% capacity? Think about a highway at 2 in the morning. Utilization of the road is very low. Because there are so few vehicles, you can drive at the maximum speed limit without ever hitting the brakes. When that same road hits rush hour and reaches 99% capacity, traffic doesn't just slow down slightly. The entire system comes to a grinding halt. Your factory floor operates on the exact same physical laws. The exact mathematics of this gridlock are explained by the Kingman formula. This formula predicts how long a part will wait in line based on how busy the machine is. As machine utilization increases from 50% up to 80%, the wait time for a part barely moves. The system safely handles the flow of parts. But right around 85%, the math changes. The curve shoots straight up toward infinity. When you push a machine to 99% capacity, the waiting line grows exponentially. An order that used to take 2 days suddenly sits in a queue for 6 months. This gridlock stems from variance, the messy, unpredictable real-world chaos like dropped tools or jammed materials. If a machine is running at 80%, it uses its 20% of idle time to catch up after a 5-minute delay. But at 99%, there is zero free time. A 5-minute delay stays in the system forever, stacking day after day until the queue stretches to infinity. To keep the factory moving, engineers abandon the pursuit of 100% uptime. Instead, they design the schedule to run machines at a maximum of 80 or 85% utilization. This intentionally left 15% of blank space is known as protective capacity. This planned idle time serves as a mechanical shock absorber. It swallows the chaos and delays of the real world before they can back up the entire system. Demanding every machine runs at maximum capacity is like stripping the shock absorbers off a car and driving it straight into a pothole. The impact shatters the system. Efficiency relies on sacrificing the illusion of perfection. Whether laying out a factory floor or organizing a schedule, systems require enough empty space to absorb chaos, or they will eventually succumb to gridlock. If you don't pay for idle time, you will inevitably pay for the traffic jam.